Hello, everyone. This is Independent Conservative. Thank you all for joining me once again. I want to respond to an article that I read on Newsbreak, which is a online news site that essentially is left leaning. I'd say 90 something percent, if not more, of their articles are left leaning. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, everything, almost everything is race related. Because why not? I mean, that is the left's, which is nothing but a soft form of communism. That is the left's mantra anyway. That is their method of operation anyway, is race relations and dividing, keeping the races divided amongst each other. And this particular racial situation is whites and blacks, okay? It's the whites against the blacks and how the whites are oppressing the blacks and committing acts of microaggression against them, okay? Now, what am I talking about, you say? Okay, well, there's an article that's in reference to, they're speaking about this lady, a black lady, who goes to an opera and she's confronted by a white woman. Now, when I read this article, you're going to notice the term black woman and white woman, black woman and white woman used pretty commonly in this article. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. But at any rate, this black woman goes to this opera, and she's asked a series of questions by the white woman, which tends to allude to this idea of you shouldn't be here, you know, because you're black. What are you doing here? That's how this article is spinning this, okay? And you're going to, and even though you may be saying, okay, Mr. Bowden, you're trying to prep us up to think this is what this article is all about. When I read this to you, you're going to notice the tone of the article, and you're going to have to agree to some extent. Hey, man, wait a minute. The way they're spinning this article is as if, oh, it's all about racism. I think there's a little bit more to it than meets the eye. So let's get right into this. In fact, the title of the article is Masterclass. Black woman shuts down white opera goer who questioned why she was there. Attending an opera at the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion in Los Angeles, the last thing that 53-year-old longtime opera fan, I can't pronounce her first name, so I'll just let her last name, Richardson, wanted was a subtle racial attack. A subtle racial attack. That's their mantra, right? However, it turned out that microaggressive racial remarks was exactly what she ended up facing that day. Microaggressive racial remark. Microaggressive, that's a term that the Marxists have made up to keep race, but we're gone. We're gone. Richardson, a California-based lifestyle entrepreneur, whatever that is, had taken a coveted seat in the orchestra section at the performance when she drew the attention of a white woman who began asking her the usual tone-deaf questions. Note what who began asking her the usual tone-deaf questions. Now, does stuff like this happen? I'm pretty sure it does. Obviously, you know, it does. If a white person, you know, if I go into an opera and most of the people there are white, okay, then I'm pretty sure if they don't ask this, some of them will probably be thinking, what is this black person doing here? Okay, but is it racially motivated? Probably not. Probably not. And I'm going to get into detail in that a little later. It says, the white woman started with, "Are you famous?" Richardson, who was totally dressed for the occasion, responded in a rather humorous way, saying, quote, "Famously sitting here about to enjoy the opera." The white woman's curiosity, however, did not quench. See how they keep using the term the white woman? Just say the other woman. The white woman, the white woman, the black woman, the white woman. They want to keep that in your mind. The white woman's curiosity, however, did not quench with the answer. Did not quench with the answer? What the heck are you talking about? As she followed up with, "Is this your first opera?" Such a line of questioning would have ruined anyone's mood. Now, this is what this article is saying happened. Me personally, I don't trust much of anything on the left at all. Now, I don't totally trust everything on the conservative side too, because they leave out things too. But the left, liberals, they're known for lying. They're communists, okay? Communists lie. That's what they do. So I'm feeling some exaggeration here, some exaggeration with terms and what really happened. Was she really being racist? Let's go on. It says, fortunately, Richardson saw this as an opportunity to talk about opera, an art form that she deeply loves and is quite passionate about. But I guarantee you, the writer of this article is not passionate about opera, because they probably look at it like, that's Eurocentric. But anyway, this is something that the white woman had clearly not expected. See how they keep saying the white woman, the white woman? Man, you can dissect or rather I could recognize a liberal article, but I mean without even looking at who the writer is of the article. I can recognize it just by the tone and the words and the terminology. It's just silly. This is something that the white woman had clearly not expected, and that makes the whole exchange between the two even more interesting. As it turns out, Richardson travels the world to see famous opera, and she goes to Italy twice a year. Her love for opera made her learn Italian as well. The white woman, and we go to the white woman again, had absolutely not expected the conversation to turn this way, and therefore she, in an attempt to prove her superiority, named an underwriter who apparently had front row tickets for that show. Superiority, huh? Okay. Richardson posted the whole video on TikTok on November 23rd with the caption, "Some people are unaware because they don't have to be aware. That's privilege." Oh, God. Why am I tormenting myself with this? But anyway, got to be fair. As a black woman, it happens more often than I care to admit, she wrote on TikTok. Whether I'm shopping in a high-end department store, sitting in first class at Starbucks, the opera, or the ballet, I've simply learned how to navigate, as I won't allow anyone to keep me from living a, quote, full life. The video drew Edison's attention quickly, and Rich Drawn was applauded for the way she dealt with the unnecessary nuisance that the white woman had created. Whoever did this can't spell. One user commented, "Wow, you are a master at this." Poised clapback. Another one added, "She's not a master. I mean, she just learned how to deal with people who ask her those questions. She thought she was about to school you and got schooled. So classy." Another chimed in, "The microaggressions went crazy." Oh my God. She wanted it to be your first opera so badly. A fourth user commented, "I stayed for the entire volley. I was screaming, 'Give it to her.'" That's about all I'm going to read right there. I think that's about enough, because there's nothing more really to say other than to keep quoting what these individuals are commenting on. But I wanted to end it. I wanted to respond to that. Now, let me just say this up front. Does racism still exist? Come on, man. You know, conservatives have been accused of denying the existence of racism. I don't think that's an accurate accusation to conservatives. We don't deny racism. Racism still exists. It's going to continue to exist as long as humans are on earth. It'll only stop when Jesus Christ comes back and stomps it out. So racism will always exist. So I don't believe conservatives are denying the existence of racism. What they are denying is that every little thing is racist according to the left. That is inaccurate, it's a lie, and it's not factual. Just that simple. It's in your own screwed up mind. If you've been brainwashed to believe that everything is racist or race related, that's how you're going to see the world. You're going to see the world based on that worldview, because you've been inundated, you've been indoctrinated to believe that white people are all racist and they're performing microaggressions against you every time they say something about you or say something to you or critique something about you, and you're going to get offended about it. It's just that simple. But yeah, it still exists, but not the way the left pushes it. Everything is not racist. Now, in this situation here, could we deem this to be racist? I don't think it was racist necessarily. I think it was simply a matter of, man, I don't see that many blacks in the opera, coming to an opera. How many blacks do you know go to the opera? You ask the average black person, particularly in the ghetto, about the opera, the average black person gonna say, "Oh, that's white people music. That's white people music. That's Eurocentric." That's probably what they're going to say, if they can say it. Okay, you're not going to. There ain't that many black folk that go to the opera. They're just not. So when this white woman asks these questions, it might not have been merely a matter of racism, but a matter of, man, you kind of like out of your. I'm not used to seeing this. And in terms of one commenter saying, well, the white woman wanted this to be her first opera so bad. How are you able to determine that? You're not able to determine whether or not the white woman wanted it to be her first opera. I think there's a twisting of what really happened there. Now, I'm pretty sure that this black woman probably get a lot of people looking at her in a strange way because she's a black woman that's coming to these places that most whites tend to go to. Okay, but I don't think that the white woman was committing any microaggression towards the black woman. That's a stupid term made up by Marxists. There's no such word, microaggression. That's stupid. She just asked her that, in my opinion, because she's not used to seeing black people in the opera. How many black people do you know go to the opera? How many black people do you know listen to country music? You have some, but not a lot. Okay? Most black people today, particularly today, listen to, well, depending on the group, if they're usually young teenagers in their 20s, they usually listen to that stupid rap music and hip hop and trap music. Yes, it's stupid. It's stupid. It's stupid. I said it, and the people don't like it. Tough. Get off with it. Don't watch the video. It's stupid. I hate it. It needs to be annihilated. It needs to be subjugated. Whatever. It's sickening music, and it's screwing up our young people. Okay, it's messing them up. But anyway, that's what they mostly listen to. Okay, you don't see or hear too many black people listening to what would be considered white music per se, like opera or country music, which is predominantly sung by white people. You don't see it as much for various reasons, but you just don't see it as much. I think this is the same situation here. But of course, this is a left-leaning article, so they're going to spin it as if it's race-related. If you notice, they use the term to refer to the white woman as white woman at least 4 or 5 times. But the white woman, the white woman, the white woman, the white woman, they wanted us to be sure that this is a white woman that asked her this question. They wanted us to be sure of that. Okay? Now, it's good that this black woman likes opera music. She wants to check it out. Okay, it's good. It's good. Because that shows that she's not limiting herself to just one style, one form of music, one form of art. She's expanding her likes. And that's how I am. I like, well, the other night I was speaking with one of my coworkers, and we talked about different music. He's white, and so, but he's the coolest guy, and he was asking, we talk about music and so forth. So he began to ask me questions about my particular category, genres of music, because I told him I like music, but I never gave him the genres. And what tends to be the case with a lot of white people, I won't say a lot of white people, I would say some white people. What tends to be the case with some white people is they tend to think that because I'm black, that I must like hip hop and rap. Why? Because, well, most black people listen to hip hop and rap and R&B. But R&B is not all that popular nowadays, so it's hip hop and rap and trap and all this other trash. Okay? And it blows them away when I tell them that, no, I hate rap music. I never was into rap music. When I was younger coming up, I heard some of it was cool, but it was never something that I really liked. Mine was R&B. I loved R&B. But then I started merging into rock and roll as I got older, which was predominantly white at the time, particularly in the 70s and 80s. And then new wave music that came out in the early 80s. Boy George, the Culture Club, Men at Work, all of those kind of groups that came out of the UK and Great Britain and so forth. This is known as new wave music. And most of that music was predominantly sung by white artists. So I was into that kind of stuff. So I liked some country music, more of the older style, Patsy Cline, Loretta Lynn, that type of stuff, and jazz. Okay, I'm beginning to name it. But it didn't shock him that I like these kind of genres of music. But I could see that he liked the fact that I had a broader view. And then I told him I don't like the rap music. I don't like it. And my point simply is this, is that sometimes people make certain assumptions about a particular ethnic group's likes in terms of music, food, whatever, because of a lot of the stuff that they see on TV or in their immediate vicinity. They may see a lot of black people, particularly in the news or on TV shows or whatever, where they're listening to that kind of music and doing things that they think is a part of black culture, which is not really. It's just a part of a subculture of black people, not all black people. And so they tend to make that particular sweeping judgment of all black people and vice versa. Black people have the same concept with white people. They have the same concept. They'll figure white people, they like to listen to country music and pop music all the time. And even though a vast majority of the listeners to pop music are white, a lot of the white people now are listening to this rap music, this hip hop music, or rap music rather, which I wish they didn't, because this rap music today sucks. Okay. The 90s was the golden age of rap music, if you want to call it that. But anyway, so I don't think that this situation here was racial. I wanted to read that because I wanted to really critique and analyze the tone of that article, where they're always making it about race. As a matter of fact, there was a list of articles, about 8 or 9 of them, and all of them was about race. A black man this, a black woman this, a white man this, a white woman this, all racial. And you mean to tell me this is all that this is the only thing that you want to talk about? Is that the only worldview that these people see? They only see black and white racially. That's all they see. These people are the worst people to be around. Thank God I never had to work with someone like that, whether they be black or white. Now let me start summing this up. It don't matter what kind of music you like or what kind of style of clothes you like. Just be yourself. Or what kind of food you like. Just be yourself. That's how I feel. Just be yourself. Be your old self. You can be. What does it mean to be black? What does it mean to be white? What does it mean to be Hispanic? What does it mean to be Puerto Rican? What does it mean to be Mexican? What does it mean to be Turkish? What does it mean to be Greek? What does all of this stuff mean? And why are so many people, this almost like another video, but why are so many people caught up in identities? And why do so many people tie their own identity to their racial ethnicity, their racial group? For me, I think that that's a bad way of finding self-identity. Because whatever your ethnic group is doing, if it's negative and you tie yourself to your identity being tied to that particular racial group or ethnic group, then you're going to be deemed negative in the same way. I think identity has to be tied to the individual. Now, most of us get our identity from our parents, but if the parents are not doing a good job, be realistic, their young person is not going to know who they are really. They're going to have to discover it on their own. Okay, I think it's an individual thing. And I think that once you start latching on to what it is that you personally like, the movies you like, the songs you like, I think that's what should define you. I don't think it should be your ethnicity or your skin color or any of that. I think it's your own personal likes and so forth that give you your identity. And so I think that that's to be the case. And this black woman, if she likes opera, she likes opera. The white woman that was asking her the questions about it, I don't think was racist, but I think it was more or less, man, I'm not used to seeing black people coming in there listening to opera music. What is going on here, you know? And I think that that's what she was asking, and the black woman interpreted it as being racist. But I don't think that's what it was. So, but once again, I think racial, or not racial, but self-identification should be just that, based on your own personal desires and wants and your own characteristics and personality. And I think that that should be what defines a individual's identity. But of course, the left doesn't want that. The left sees everything as one big group. Yes, they do, because that's communism. Communism does not take in consideration individuality. They hate individuals because individuals are more inclined to think for themselves. Communists don't want you to think for yourself. They want you to embrace the communist worldview. Everybody's sharing everything, right? You don't have your own unique identity. Your identity is tied to the state, the communist state. So since the left is a soft form and nonviolent form of communism, that's how they think. They don't look at individuals. They look at the group. And if one individual in the white race is, quote unquote, showing signs of microaggression, then guess what? All white people are like that. If one black person is oppressed, all black people are oppressed. The problem with that worldview is it's stupid and inaccurate because none of these people have did any research on all the people in those people groups to find out whether or not any of that foolish assessment is accurate. None of them. Because how can you make the determination that all white people are racist and are good at showing signs of microaggression towards black people? And how can you determine that all black people within that particular group have been oppressed by some white person? You can't, stupid. Okay, I'm just telling it like it is, man. I don't mind calling names. I'm going to end on this. People say you calling names. People calling people names. I call it like it is. Jesus called people names. He called the Pharisees and the Sadducees, which were religious leaders, vipers and snakes. You want to know why he did that? Because in Bible times, when a name was given to someone, yes, I'm going there, the name was a description of their character. Your character is that part of you that is consistent with who you are. It's your dominant traits. And so names were given to individuals in the Bible to describe their character. Same principle here. A lot of people on the left tend to think, now I'm not saying all, but particularly the radical left tend to think that way. They tend to think that way. They tend to think everybody is racist that's not black. To me, that's stupid. That's dumb. Because you don't have all the facts to determine that. So that's what I call you. If that characterizes you, you see everything as race related, then to me, you're a fool. You're a fool. You're ignorant. So I'm just calling it like it is. That characterizes that person. What am I supposed to call them? I call it like it is. So people call me names. They call me a sellout, Uncle Tom, whatever, which I think is stupid because most of them that say that don't know anything about Uncle Tom or sellout, don't know nothing about it, don't know nothing about me except what I tell you. And that ain't much. So, yeah, anyway. But yeah, I wanted to just make a comment. I just wanted to respond to that because I think that a lot of times things are exaggerated and taken out of context, and I wanted to put it back into context. So what do you guys think about this article that I just read to you? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, subscribe to my channel. God bless you all. See you again.